on this computer. So hello, officially from me. I'm Bridget at Cowgirlblues. We're a small yarn company in Cape Town, South Africa, and we're excited to be at VKL today. There is a little bit of housekeeping to do first, which is to say that it would be great if you could all have your names showing and your preferred pronouns. My pronouns are she, her. VKL likes to make this a welcoming and accessible event for everyone. So I have enabled live transcription that you can enable on your side. So please let me know if you need some help. And then also just to say, please be kind and respectful to each other, the event producers, the presenters, and let's make this a comfortable, welcoming space for everybody. So the next thing to do is to move on to all of the yarn and good stuff like that. And I should put the coupon code and information in, which I'll do that now in our chat. And our coupon code for March is VKL March 22, and that gets you 10% off everything in our online shop. And it's valid until the 28th of March. So you are welcome to spend some time looking at patterns, get some input if you need some suggestions or ideas around combining colors. Please contact us. We're very happy to do that. And also do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you like to keep in touch. And if you're on our website and not already signed up to our newsletter, we love getting new subscribers. I write once a week on a Tuesday, and it ranges from my What to Knit Next feature, which happens once a month, to showing you new yarns and limited edition colorways, and looking at different projects and things relevant to the world of knitting. I am not anti-crochet, and in fact, I did bring a crochet project to show you today. Did I leave it over there? Okay, I might have to run and fetch it. But I'm not a super technical crocheter, but it doesn't mean I don't love the form. And yes, let's talk about that as it comes up. People have been saying what their favorite type of projects are. And there was a lot of, I think it varies seasonally, which I can understand. And as you're going into warmer weather, maybe that's a focus on lighter garments, shawls. People do like sweaters and blankets and throws, and hats. We can talk about a few hat projects, although that probably isn't where you're focused right now, unless one of those dreadful stormy hurricanes hit you on the East Coast, which I hope it didn't. Thank you, Carol. We are going to talk about that one over there. And yeah, so we'll talk about different projects. Please use the chat if there are questions you would like me to cover, if you want to ooh and ah about something that you're seeing. I will keep an eye on it as I am presenting and post various links in as I go along. Just quickly, perhaps you could let me know if you have not been to a Cowgirlblues presentation before, because then I'll make sure that I cover a little bit of the background about the business in more detail than I would otherwise. I recognize many of you, and I know that a lot of you have been to our presentations before. And so you know that we are based in Cape Town in South Africa. We use South African wool and mohair yarns. And I've been doing a lot of work on writing a business plan for a funding application and thinking really about what it is that makes us unique. And I think we have beautiful colors, and I hear that from a lot of our customers. And so do many dyers. And so I've been really kind of wrestling with what makes us tick. And I think one of the most important things about Cowgirlblues is that we're all about empowering women. And to a large degree, that is the team that works here. There are 10 other women working at Cowgirlblues, and giving them job opportunities to learn and grow, and develop and build their confidence and their ability to support themselves and their families is a massive part of why I started the business. It would be a lot more profitable for me to be a one-person indie dyer working from home, but that isn't helping very many people, and so that's not what we do. We have a team, we have a beautiful space where we work, and we're all in it together. And it's not just about empowering the team, but it's about empowering our customers and bringing stories and projects and colors and yarns and new yarning adventures to all of you. So I hope that you have that experience so far, and from the number of people who return, I think we must be doing something right. And a big welcome to Mary today, who is new at a Cowgirlblues presentation. And amongst all these people who've been before, thanks so much for letting me know, Mary. It's lovely to have you here. And we'll be talking about our yarns and colors and projects. And this is being recorded, so you can find us on YouTube afterwards. And yes, I'm going to dive into getting into the yarns, but first just to answer Karen's question around shipping. So we have added an economy shipping option. And as you go through the checkout process, you should see it come up, that it's an economy shipping to the USA, and it's $15 instead of the $25 express shipping option. And as Ronnie said on Thursday, that means $10 more to spend on yarn, which is a great way to look at it. But it will be a 10 to 12 day shipping service with UPS. And our service provider has been trialing it with other customers for a couple of months, and we have just got onto their platform. So if you do select that option, we'll keep you posted. It's tracked with all the communication. So we're excited to see how that works out. And if you can't figure out the option, you can always just leave us a note and say that, just select the regular shipping, and we'll do a PayPal refund for you if that's what you would prefer. Sarah is new too, from Massachusetts. Hi, Sarah, welcome. It's lovely to have you here with us today as well. And so just as a little overview for the new people, we're a small yarn dyeing company based in Cape Town in South Africa. We use South African wool and mohair yarns. We have 7 yarn bases, which I will show you. So we have 3 merino yarns over here, and lace, our merino twist, which is a sport weight, and a DK as double knitting or worsted weight, I think you would call it in North America. Then we've got our proper sock, which is mohair, at least a wool nylon blend. In the mohair blends, we've got kid silk, which is a 70% mohair, kid mohair, and 30% silk. We've got Aran, which I think Cindy's knitting with the Aran at the moment, and she described it as buttery, squishy, and delicious. So yes, that's a great yarn. And then the fluffy mohair is very popular in Europe, and as you head into autumn, winter, we'll be talking about that a lot more later in the year, but also a beautiful yarn. And all of the yarns come in all of our colors. You can see our solid color palette over here, a beautiful range of some neutrals, yellows and oranges, the pinks and purples, and then the greens and blues. And we've got some lovely multicolors as well, some standard multicolors and some limited edition multicolors. And Cindy has asked, is it flat rate shipping? Yes, it is. It's a flat rate of $15, just like the Express is a flat rate shipping. So whether you're ordering 1 skein or 10 skeins, it's a fully inclusive rate. Yeah. So, and to the new people, we have 2 shipping options. We're just starting out with an economy option, but otherwise we use DHL Express, and it's very speedy and very efficient. So we've had great success shipping to the US. And so far we have a lot of happy customers, I think, as you can probably tell by the people who've come back. So, so yes, as Karen said, she puts an order together with friends, and that spreads the shipping cost. That's another way of doing it. And of course, we always like it when you introduce your friends to our yarns. Right, so since people were talking about shawls and interested in shawls, I'm going to start with the Manaka shawl that is hanging up here. And I'm also going to show you a couple of limited edition yarns and talk about combining yarns as I do that. So this is the Manaka shawl, and it is designed by an Indian designer called Nidi Kansal. And empowering women extends to working with new and lesser known pattern designers as well. You know, there are a lot of big designers who have huge followings, and it's very difficult for small designers to break into that and get people to try out their patterns. So I highly recommend, you know, every second or third project trying something new. And that's what I did here. So this shawl, Nidi's original design is worked in one color in kid silk, but to me it was a great option to play. So what I did was I combined our Happy Days kid silk and knit that together with faded rose for the main color. And one change wasn't enough for me, so I also decided to work the lace sections in contrasting colors of just the lace single on its own. For the first sections, I used ruby grapefruit, and that was just one of our mini balls of lace. There was enough left that you would easily have been able to work these yarn over rose here as well, using that color. I didn't realize how they were going to fit into the overall pattern when I started. Otherwise, that's what I would have done. And then I added another color for the bigger lace bands at the bottom. And it finishes off with this really pretty picot cast off. And you can see it's a nice size in terms of how you can wear it. Obviously, just over the shoulder. Got some depth here, but it's not a huge wraparound, but also just as a lightweight scarf piece. If you're going into autumn or things get a little cooler, as I know the weather can be up and down in the changing of season period. So this is the Menaka Shawl. We have put together some knit kits, and I'm going to just copy and paste a link in for you here so that you can find the details. So there are some bundles on the website, and one of the color combinations we put together was using Under Pressure, and I'm just going to pull the swatches for that. So this is what the Under Pressure colorway looks like on a heavier weight yarn. But in a lighter weight, you can combine with a lace solid, and it will really soften the color or shift it towards a much more, you know, you could use it with silver fox or charcoal to make it a much stronger black, or put the charcoal in as a contrast color for the lace sections. So we've put that information into the bundles, which you'll find on the website. I see there are a couple of new people who have joined, so I'm just going to pop the coupon code in again, and that coupon code is VKL March 22, and you will get 10% off your shopping, and it's valid until the 28th of March, and the link to the website is there. So Menaka is a really lovely knit. you need to do a little bit of concentrating on the lace patterns. And I know I'm not allowed to point out my flaws, but I wasn't entirely sure that I got the lace exactly right everywhere. But I don't think that it matters if you are not too pedantic about it. There were definitely one or two mistakes, but the overall effect is really pretty, especially because you're working with a bigger needle. And to me, the texture and color contrast of the lace and the kid silk is very pretty. The website does not show, when you select the kits, just the names, not the pictures. Okay, thank you very much for that. Karen, I'll make sure that we update those pictures, but I can also take you through them now if you'd like. Right, so let me I'm just going to pull it up on the website so that I can see which colorways we've put together there. Sorry, give me 1 minute. And we will go. So then I can just show you the actual yarns of those different color options. So the first one that's there is this one here with the Happy Days, the Faded Rose, and hot pink for the contrast, and then ruby grapefruit for this one over here. We haven't knit swatches of the other color combinations, and I'm just going to hang this back up quickly so that we can look at them. But one of the colors that I've got here in my hand is our Flamingo Feathers on kid silk. And for this one, we thought that working it with a natural, and I think that it is chili pepper. I see, I'm getting it, sorry. This one is Flamingo Feathers, and I think our suggestion for that was chili pepper or ruby grapefruit. So there's the ruby grapefruit there, and then lemon as the contrast colors, and natural as the background color to go with that one. But I'll double check the picture when we're finished, and I'll add the information into the product on the website. So those ones you can see there. And then the other option, excuse me 1 second, my microphone falling over. I'm just looking for a kid silk skein of the Under Pressure, and I'll find one in a minute. But the color suggestions that we thought would go well with Under Pressure were, again, you could use the natural as the background color to knit with the kid silk. And then two options for the contrast would be, again, charcoal in the lace and carrot juice for the little color pop. If the carrot juice is too much, you could soften it with the terracotta. And on the other option, we thought terracotta and carrot juice would make a lovely contrast when you're putting them together with the kid silk. And Carol said if you click on the photos, you can see the color options, but I'm not sure that the Flamingo Feathers is described there in terms of which colors are together. So you can imagine, if you look at the swatch here, where you're seeing the Under Pressure with natural, that when you put two contrasting colors together, they'll bring out the tiny little flecks of orange in that colorway. Or even, you know, if you wanted something more muted, you could go with Silver Fox, and charcoal would give you a very neutral looking color combination for the lace sections. So lots of options there. And if you have some ideas, but you're not sure what they're going to look like, you're very welcome to send us an email with the colors you're interested in, and we can then help you put them together and send you some pictures of what they would look like next to each other, so you get a better idea than kind of pulling things from the website, because I know that can help to see them like that. So that's a little bit about the Menaka shawl. And then one of the shawls, the other shawls I brought that we haven't looked at in a while, is called the Fairy Leaves Wrap. And when we're talking about marling, this is a beautiful project that's got this lovely detail in the center section here. So you start in the middle with a provisional cast on and work this way and then that way. And it's designed for knitting with a heavier weight yarn, but for me, it works up so beautifully in this combination of lace single and kid silk held together. And I used lemon with true colors, but any of the combinations of the kid silks with a solid color lace would be stunning, or the other way around, a multicolor kid silk, at least a multicolor lace and a solid color kid silk. And one of the colors I was thinking about is the Flamingo Feathers in the lace single. It's got these beautiful little bits of pinks, little dash of purple, bit of yellow here. And if you wanted to keep all of those colors quite visible, then you could pair it with the kid silk in natural. Or, you know, put it with something like the faded rose, which will give it an overall pinkish shade. Or even be a little more daring and put it with something like the orchid blush in kid silk. And then similarly, you could take the Flamingo Feathers in kid silk and work it with lace in natural. Or faded rose in natural. So I think there are a lot of ways that you could make that work. And I'm going to just post a link for you to the pattern so that you can see where to find that. And there is also a blog post that I did last year called Plenty of Projects, which has got, oh no, I just posted the same thing again, sorry about that. The Plenty of Projects post had a lot of ideas, including the Fairy Leaves wrap there. And Margaret has asked, for our solid yarns, are we always using the same colorways for different weights? So yes, we have a color palette of 30 different solid colors. I'll show you here. And all of those colors are available on all of our yarn bases. And I know it's not something that all of the yarn companies do, but to me, it seemed the logical way of organizing the color palette. Otherwise, I come up with a color and I put it onto lace, and then immediately someone says, oh, well, can I have that one on kid silk or our merino twist base? So what we did from the start is put all of the colors onto all of the bases. The only place where that does not apply is on our limited edition colors. So you can see some of those in the background over here, and I'll show those to you in a bit more detail. We did put Flamingo Feathers onto both the lace single and the kid silk, and it gives you an idea of how the colors show up differently on the different yarn bases. The merino over here versus the mohair silk. The mohair silk takes the color a lot slower, and so you don't get this very intense speckle effect of if you put a strong dose of color, it tends to be more muted, and you can see sort of little bits of the purple are stronger here. But I like the idea of having the two together. It could also be a nice way to do something like the Manaka Shawl over here, if you were to use these two colorways together, and then when you get to the sections of the lace, to just knit with the lace multicolor, not with the kid silk. So you'll really see the difference in texture and color in those sections. And then Carol's asked, is Fairy Leaves holding kid silk with merino lace? Yes. So if I hold it a little closer for you on the screen, you should be able to see here, for example, the very bright yellow strand is the lace, and then on top, the slightly darker thread there in that section is the kid silk. So the merino lace and the kid silk. And for me, you can mix the colors around interchangeably. So whether you use a multicolor in kid silk and a solid in the lace, or a multi in the lace and a solid in the kid silk, you'll end up with a similar blending effect. When you put two multicolors together, they will tend to either amplify or cancel each other out, and you won't just see the multicolor effect. But it can still be very beautiful in terms of how you're putting the colors together. We can go through a lot more swatches if anyone wants to see how some other colors combine together. I've got a lot of swatches here, and we can look at those. Cindy's asked, is there not enough demand for DK to also do some skeins in the limited edition? So yes, there is, and we do. At the moment, these are the two colors that we have in limited edition. So we've got Bougainvillea over here and Shells and Things over here. And I have just dyed a few for Joburg because I'm going up there next week. And so if there's some left, I'll put them on the website afterwards. I guess a question from me around that is, would you take a multicolor limited edition to work into a sweater, for example? Or would it be more something that would go into a wrap or a beanie or a shawl project? Because certainly with the ones I've been thinking about for Joburg, there are a number. I don't know if you know that Ravelry has added a function that you can search by country. So if you want to search for a Ukrainian designer, for example, to support them at the moment, you can select Ukraine. And I thought it would be a nice way to knit up some of these skeins as samples using some beanie patterns from some of those Ukrainian designers. So, so for a smaller project or a multicolor shawl, yeah, these are great. Yeah, so those are there. Then these are two of the other color options that we have in the limited editions in our merino twist. I'm just looking, I think there's one. Oh, no, these two. And these are frangipani flowers, and this one is berries and leaves. And these are very nice for working in a variety of different projects. I have got somewhere here, a Sweet Dream shawl, but I also brought, I know I've showed it before and people have said they've knitted it, but the Hitchhiker shawl, which is, it's not an enormous project, and it was designed in one color, but it's a very nice one for either combining two multicolors or for knitting a multicolor with a solid color. And so for something like this one, you could make it very striking by combining it with the faded rose or a ruby grapefruit. And it's a lovely way to just put different options together. And then Karen said, you haven't knitted the gradient that you bought. And yes, they could absolutely work for the Fairy Leaves wrap. It's very versatile, and I'd have to go back and double check the meterage, but I think it might have been 2 skeins of kid silk and 3 balls of the merino lace single, but I can check that for you. Does it say 4? So then 2 skeins. It's a great project. And Noma Ndlovu is a South African designer, so it's always nice to support our local people. And then someone's asked about the Newbury cowl. I'm just going to grab it. The Newbury cowl here was designed by Melissa from Fox Big Knits. And because I have the fan going, I will put it on and show you how it wears. But I'm looking forward to our weather cooling down so that I can actually wear it, because it's a really beautiful design. I love the shaping that it expands over the shoulders, and the patterning is just gorgeous with this little ruffle at the edge, or rufflet at the edge. And Melissa is a newer designer based in Michigan, and she's got a lovely pair of socks, a sock knitting pattern that she's just released. I'm not sure whether you pronounce it miel, but they look really nice, and she's got a test knit call coming out for a new cowl very soon. So I knitted this one with merino DK, and it was 2 skeins of double knit. Then Carol, you're knitting the Newbury cowl. It's fantastic, but you do need to concentrate. So it's not a multitasking knit project. And then Linda said, where are the swatches on the website? So a lot of the swatches you'll find in the individual yarns. So for example, if you're looking at one of the kid silk colorways, you'll see in there are the pictures of that colorway compared with, at least knitted with the different yarns. So yes, that's where to go and look for them. And if we're doing a website revamp at some point, which we do need to do, it would be lovely to be able to create just a swatch section where you could just go and look at the visuals of all the swatches and then be able to get the yarn information off there. Then Liza's asked, do we have the Joys of Spring shawl handy that we can talk about some color options? Yes, absolutely. So let me just put that here. So here is the Joys of Spring shawl, and since many of you are heading into spring, this is a great one for knitting. It looks completely enormous. It is, sorry, the microphone's falling over here. It is, eventually. It is a generous size, but because it's so light and loose knit, it's very easy to turn it into a scarf if that's what you need, and perfect for putting in your bag. I know Karen's been knitting one, and she said it's great for air-conditioned environments. She's holding it up for us. Hold on one second, Karen. I'm going to spotlight you so that everyone can see, if that's okay. Yes, there it is. Doesn't that look great? So you can see very different color combination there. We can certainly look at some color options. If you have an idea, Liza, what you would like to put together. So you need to start with a multicolor kid silk yarn, and this one is 9 to 5. And the lace is the lace colors are carrot juice and celadon, which you can see over there. Yeah, I was going to say it's not a good one for zooming unless you are in the in one of the bands of the garter stitch in the middle. And Liza says you're a pinks, greens, blues fan, so that one could be an option. So in terms of greens, I think the best place to start is with which of the kid silk colors would you want to use as the background. So this is Karma Chameleon. The Signs of Spring could be another good one. I'm just looking for a skein or a swatch of it. Hold on. So here is the Signs of Spring in Kid Silk. So you can see it's got a little bit of pink and a little bit of green. And that could be really beautiful. I mean, if you like the pink and you want it to pop out, you could put hot pink in there, or a little bit more subtle, the faded rose. And if you're going to do it with faded rose, I would then put, sorry, I'm going to switch hands here. I would put a stronger green, like the rainforest, so that you see the contrast between the two colors, because sometimes you're knitting them together, or the olive that is more, you know, turning into that section over there. Or you could, you know, if you really wanted the pink to pop, you could put two different shades of pink together. Faded rose and dusty rose would work really nicely. Yeah. Would you like to see some blue options as well, Liza? I can show you that skein.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay. Let me just find a skein. See, my little mini ball boxes are very handy for this because I can have all the colors together. So there is the 9 to 5, and this is Air Force, which could be a nice color. I mean, if you wanted to go on the darker side, there's Air Force and Indigo. You could do something like Air Force and Celadon, would also look nice. You could definitely put some green in there, or I'm kind of thinking guinea fowl and sage, or indigo and sage would give you a nice contrast with that 9 to 5.
Beautiful.
Thanks. And so if you have some thoughts and you want to see a picture of the full balls next to each other, we can just drop an email to shopping@cowgirlblues.co.za, and we can just take some pictures of the skein with the different color options together and send that through. Katrin has asked, would we add something like an alpaca silk lace weight as an alternative to mohair? It's difficult in this country because we have alpaca, but it's really expensive compared to South America. And so the yarn just ends up being so expensive. And the silk obviously is also imported. And to me, it makes sense for other countries to be using the alpaca, whereas for us, because we have the mohair here, it makes sense to use the mohair. So it's not on my plan. One of the things that is on my plan, though, is our Aran yarn is in a blend of 80% wool and 20% mohair. And with that blend, the mill would spin up a lighter weight yarn. So I am thinking about trying out a fingering weight base that would have 4 to 450 meters per 100 grams in the in that same more merino, but with a little bit of mohair in it. And Michelle said it's divine, very soft and stunning colors. We think so too. Thanks, Michelle. But yes, so that's why I'm not looking at the alpaca. A lot of people have asked about cottons, and cottons are something that I would love to do. But again, the cotton is, yeah, it's not organic cotton, and it's locally made both here in Southern Africa, both in South Africa and in Zimbabwe. But the dyeing process is very different. And so it would be quite a steep learning curve on the dyeing front there. Okay, so where shall we go next? I'm wondering. A little bit of sock yarn that I can show you. If you've been here the last couple of days, you will have seen. But they're the beautiful color palette socks, and our mini balls are great for sock projects. So we have a collection of the minis in all of the colors in our solid color palette, and the minis are also available in all of the different yarn bases, and you can buy them individually and also in the collection. And Cindy's saying hers was a custom kit of the Karma Chameleon Kid Silk with Camps Bay and Orchid Blush. So similar to this one, but instead of using the rainforest green, Cindy used the brighter Camps Bay. Yeah. So, and we're very happy to mix up the colors for you, because it's about we've put together a few ideas, which are really just a starting point for you to explore from, to find the color combination that you like and that works for you. What else can I show you? I'm just having a little look. We haven't talked about beanies, and I don't know if anyone is in beanie mode at the moment. You might be thinking, I can't wait to put these things away and forget about them until next winter, which I can completely understand. The other project that I brought, which I have to grab from over there, did I show this month's colorways? Thank you for that, Valera. So that is what I'm going to do. I am going to show you, so these are our proper sock colorways. This one over here is Faded Flowers. This one is March On, and this one is the Ides of March. And I'll show you how those knit up. And then Rika, I will come to your cobweb shawl in a minute. Yes. So March On is a sock in progress over here. And you can see it gives a beautiful muted color palette. This is I think my mum said it's a 4-stitch repeat, and these are Summer Lee's daily socks, the daily socks. I'll copy and paste that link in for you now. I'm just doing this with 2 hands, not while I'm holding a pair of socks. There we go. And a little bit of lemon at the top here as a contrast color, which gives a little bit of a zing to the socks. And then here you can see the same socks. So this is knitted in the Ides of March. And again, you can see the pattern there with the little pops of color. And the top was lipstick, also in a mini. And then Rika has asked about the cobweb shawl with a mustard and lilac option. So yes, we can do that. So here is the Kid Silk cobweb shawl. I'm just going to step back so I can show you. It's a big piece, but again, very light. So it gives you a beautiful wrap if you are looking for something that you can wear wrapped around, but also is light enough and long enough that it will transition to a scarf. And so I really like the Kid Silk for this fact that it knits beautifully on a bigger needle, as well as combined with other yarns. And we've put the kits together as a color block with 4 colors in similar shades. So here you can see charcoal, silk fox, sable, and mushroom. And then Rika has asked about that box over here. So you said a lilac. So that
and a mustard, yeah.
orchid blush. And there's the mustard. And then, I mean, if you wanted to make it quite zingy and summery, you could put the lemon on there, and you could go darker to the plum on that side. Or you could.
I love the mustard and the lilac together. They're gorgeous. They kind of just
absolutely beautiful.
Could I put a neutral or a not a camel, which is the lighter color that you've got than a camel?
We've got sable.
Sable, yeah, would that work?
Beautiful, yes, definitely. And then you need one more.
Yeah.
It's also quite soft. I don't know how you feel about pink.
Yes, that's the color combination.
Nice. And I mean, you could put it there.
Yes, that's the combination. Yeah. Thank you, Bridget.
It's a pleasure. So that's faded rose, orchid blush, mustard, and sable.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. The size is daunting. Carol, the size of the cobweb shawl. It's a really, really, really easy knit though. So you're knitting on a big needle, and a lot of it is stocking stitch. And then you've got a couple of, I'm just going to put where you can see it. So where you knit these little sections, you're knitting a slip stitch, and the slip stitch row is super easy. The one row that's tricky is when you come and pick up the bars. So it's literally, you know, you've got that whole section through to there, and then one tricky row, and then a whole section through and one tricky row. So it goes quite quickly and isn't as complicated as it looks. So yes, knowing you and your knitting skills, you could definitely cope. And I like Rika's color combination as well. Rika, we might have to photograph that once you've knit it and put it into our color palette.
Definitely.
It's very pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. So is there anything that I haven't shown you that you were expecting to see or you'd like to see? We've got kind of 5 more minutes, and I'm at your disposal.
Can I share a couple projects that I'm doing with your yarns?
Please, I would love that. Cindy, may I spotlight you?
Great, let me take the background off.
Go.
Let's see. Yeah. So I just cast this on. This is in your merino DK.
Yeah.
And I got some of your one-of-a-kind end of the supply skeins. I think that was in my December order.
Yeah.
So the reddish one here, I think, is Tainted Love-ish, right?
Yes.
And then I'm contrasting it with Camps Bay.
You obviously like it today, and I can see a little bit of that greeny color in your shirt you're wearing today. So yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
The contrast is
yeah. Camps Bay is probably my favorite of all your colors. I just really, really love it. So this shawl is called Leah. It's by Anthony Casalena. And I'm doing it in DK. His pattern is in fingering, but I really just prefer the heavier weight yarns working with them these days.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole bunch of small quantities of your merino DK in small balls that I'm going to, I mean, Camps Bay will be one of the contrasters. Yeah. But then further in the project, there'll be other colors contrasting.
Fantastic.
So I do think in the bigger quantity that I need of what I'm using, the Tainted Love, I think I'm going to need a whole other skein of merino DK.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of something that would coordinate, but also contrast. And that's why I was asking about your limited edition DK.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how you feel about pink, but you wouldn't go with something like the bougainvillea in there, because
is it too close, or would it be different?
I don't think that it's too close, because it's got a lot more pop in it. Let me just grab the name of the Tainted Love to compare it to, so you have an idea of how they look together. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
So I think your Tainted Love doesn't have the natural in it here, which is why it was on, which is why it was the kind of end of.
Yeah.
So yours is darker than this. And so I think that this will give a really nice contrast against that. Similar tones with the tones, little bit of mustard popping in there. You can see over here, there's quite a lot of lighter color, and just a little bit that fits in that same Tainted Love category.
Good.
So I think we'll speak to that. And I think the contrast with, I'm just going to grab a Camps Bay, will be really delicious.
Yeah, I like that. In your regularly available DK colorways, in the multi, there's something that has a bit of blue in it. I thought I knew all the names.
Thinking 9 to 5?
Yeah, maybe 9 to 5. I was wondering about something spring.
Yeah, Signs of Spring.
Signs of Spring. What do you think about Signs of Spring next to the, or Sweet Dreams next to that My Tainted Love?
Yes, I'll go and grab those for you now. I'm just answering. Linda asked what the name of the shawl was. So that one, oh, this one that Cindy's knitting, or the one, the Kid Silk one that we looked at? The Kid Silk one is the Kid Silk cobweb shawl. Cindy, what's the name of the pattern that you're knitting?
Yeah, the one I'm going to working on is called Leah, Leah.
Yeah.
And the designer is Anthony Casalena. He's a Southern California designer.
Casalena. I have no idea how you spell that, Casalena, but I've just
put
something in there. I'm just grabbing those other colors for you, Cindy.
Yeah, it's Casalena. Lots of short rows, which I really enjoy.
So I think there are different options that you could put. The 9 to 5 would be a big contrast against the Tainted Love, but obviously would pick up the Camps Bay. It might be too much of a contrast.
No bueno on that one.
Yeah. Then the Sweet Dreams.
Yeah, that I can picture.
It's going to pick up the Camps Bay, and it's got a little bit of kind of chili pepper and things that would then speak to the Tainted Love.
Yeah.
And then, did I grab something else? I mean,
Signs of Spring.
But I did bring the Happy Days as well. Which doesn't have much of the greeny blue in. It's got a little bit of a more sagey color, but it would also speak to the Tainted Love. Okay.
And I have small quantities of other colors of DK that are also going to be pulled in. So,
nice.
There could be some natural and neutrals coming in there too. Yeah. Okay, awesome. That's a big help.
Yeah, and in terms of putting colors together, what I always find is, if you're starting with something like this and you've got a strong contrast color and you want to put something else in the contrast colors, as long as you use a little bit and you repeat it several times, if it just shows up once, it's hard to make them connect. But if you've got 3 or 4 times that it's showing up, and you've got something else that shows up 3 or 4 times, somehow that repetition holds it all together. So that even if you're not picking up the colors in the yarn, if you were picking up the mustard several times and the Camps Bay several times, just that repetition will hold it all together.
And in the pattern, it's very easy to do that because the short rows kind of keep working themselves out and out and out, and you can just like add in another stripe of color. Yeah.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I Instagrammed about this, though, the other one I got is some Aran weight. This is pink variegated, one of your one-offs. And so I'm doing the Moco Moco cowl.
Okay.
by Olga Jazzy.
Yeah.
And so this is so fun. It's like the shrimps from Shawlography, right?
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. But I'm a big fan of your Erin. It's just so soft. And I like working with the bigger weight yarns.
Yeah.
So this is just the very beginning. I have lots to go, but it looks beautiful in your yarn, and it's got a halo, and it's soft and very soft. Good. Awesome.
Thanks. Lovely.
In your project bag.
Yes, we love the project bags.
Thanks, Bridget.
Yeah, pleasure, Cindy. And then Carol, you said, what am I holding? So this is Merino DK, and it's in a limited edition colorway called Bougainvillea. And I don't know if you have them growing where you are. I think it's originally a South American plant, but we had a massive one in the home I grew up in, that I just have these memories of my father on a Saturday afternoon in his swimming costume outside with the hackers hacking back this enormous bougainvillea. And you get them with these incredible, shocking pink flowers and bright purples and things, and they're flowering all over the place here in Cape Town at the moment. So that's this one. Okay. So you do get some in South Carolina, but better in South Florida. Yeah. So that's Bougainvillea. And I see that officially we have hit the end of our time. So I am going to say thank you very much. It has been lovely to see you all. Coupon code VKL March 22. Please do go and do some shopping. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you are staying on the on VKL for now, I think it's Joe Packham from What Women Create is doing the keynote talk at 12:30, which is just in half an hour. So I'm going to go rushing home to listen to her, because I think that'll be very interesting. And hopefully you'll find lots of other lovely presenters and workshops and things to attend. So thank you so much. It's been great seeing you all, and see you in the newsletter, see you on social media, and see you next time.
Thank you, Bridget. It was lovely.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And Bridget, I just wanted to say hi since we've been emailing.